Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hesse Bros podcast. And wow, might be my favorite one yet so far this season, Luke, because we're coming off the Hesse Bros Bowl where the Kansas City Chiefs get the victory 30-17 over the Detroit Lions. Arrowhead Stadium was popping off big time. Beautiful Sunday night.
I know that's not what the Hesse Bro Pods fans wanted to see. Brent celebrating while I'm in shambles over here. But am I really in shambles? And let's go ahead and break down that game, Brent. I'm wondering, do you think that the Chiefs can sustain that top tier offense? Because as soon as the Chiefs got the ball and the Lions were up by four, I believe it was, right at the end of the half, and the Chiefs were getting it to start the second half, I'm like, please just don't go down by 10 points next time we get the ball. And that's exactly what happened. It just seems like the Chiefs are able to score well, at least on the Lions, they were able to. You think they can sustain that?
Let me see if this answers the question. The Chiefs are back, baby. Yes, they're number one, not just the number one team in the NFL, but number one offense with the number one quarterback. It's Patrick Mahomes and this offense. Absolutely, Luke. They can sustain this top level offense. Patrick Mahomes combined for 4 touchdowns for the second time in 3 games. Now, 3 passing, 1 rushing. He's getting the ball to playmakers. Since Xavier Worthy came back, the offense has opened up so much more, even though Worthy didn't get so many touches, but he had an important touchdown, obviously, and a couple of other big plays in critical moments. But it just opens the field for other guys like Kelsey. Now he's got some more space. And the run game, even starting to just do a little bit. Anything works, really. Just be able to get 2 or 3 yards on third downs. That's all they really need to do. Yes, this is Patrick Mahomes, and now he's about to get his number one weapon back and Rasheed Rice. Yes, the offense, they can sustain this level. Now, I don't know about Mahomes throwing for four touchdowns or recording 4 touchdowns every week, but they can be back to averaging in the high 20s offensively. And I think that this is a great sign. Even though it was against a banged up Detroit secondary, they took advantage. And it's still a secondary that hasn't given up that many points to really anybody outside of that Ravens game. Even the Ravens game, they didn't score that much. So, yes, I was very impressed with the offense for Kansas City, Luke. But for you, do you have some confidence that's shaking in Motown now?
Absolutely not. I'm completely fine with what happened. I mean, it would have been great to be able to get that win, but clearly it was the Chiefs' night that day. I mean, zero penalties. Are we serious? Kelsey's over here telling the ref what to call after Mahomes did it the other week against the Jags. I mean, they just get whatever calls they want, I guess. So not having any penalties, I mean, and then completely shook the game. And we had plays like Amon-Ra St. Brown drops a pass on fourth down. All right, sure. He's not going to do that in the Super Bowl if these teams match up again. And so I'm not really too worried at all about that. That's the way Dan Campbell plays, and sometimes it plays out like that. But that's what we need to do to be able to beat teams like that, and we'll be able to get it done moving forward. Not worried about it at all. And I love seeing Hutchinson back there. Another strip sack. I mean, that's really what's given me such great hope is that he's able to get it done and really putting pressure on the other team's quarterback. So once we do get those guys in our secondary back, we're going to be having a great defense, and that's what we need for this offense really to flourish.
Well, I think that your point about the defensive line for the Lions is another reason why I have confidence in the Chiefs offense because, yes, Hutchinson had that big strip sack, knocked the Chiefs back on what could have been a promising drive. I don't know why they decided to try to put Noah Gray over to block Hutchinson one-on-one. That was a mistake. But outside of that, the Chiefs offensive line, even with the backup left tackle, played really well and gave Mahomes time. And if Mahomes has time, he's going to do some good things. So that's another plus for Kansas City because that front four is really tough. Front seven really for Detroit, really good. And then I agree with you. The Amon-Ra play fourth down, that was kind of the turning point in the game. If the Lions catch that ball, they probably get to have the last crack before halftime and either put 3 or 7 on the board. Instead, it goes the other way, and Kansas City gets 7 before halftime, and then right out of the half as well. So yeah, absolutely, that was a big swinging point, and it's small things like that. Even though the score ended up being by 13, the game was it was still very close and very tight. Big plays could have shifted it one way or another for much of the game until kind of late fourth quarter.
Exactly. That's what is the one thing that is a little bit concerning about this Lions team as it stands right now is whenever we get down like we did against the Packers and against the Chiefs, our offense is not the same as whenever we have the lead. We're not able to run the balls effectively, and it seems like we get a little bit tense. Goff misses one throw. It doesn't look like we can just put together those first downs like we usually do anytime we have a lead and we're feeling confident in our offense. That's the one thing that is a little worrying, but I do believe Dan Campbell will be able to get that taken care of, and hopefully John Morton. It's just one of the things of being a first-time play caller for the Detroit Lions. We'll be able to get that sorted out later down the line this year.
Yeah, that's two good points. For one, Lions playing from behind, I think that is a big weakness of theirs because they're so predicated on the run game. They don't want to fall behind early. And then that going back to that very first drive, Luke, a play where it was so weird being at the stadium because we didn't know what was going on. They've got the field goal unit, extra point unit already lined up out there. They didn't tell us, oh, maybe this isn't allowed. The flag just drops while Bates or whoever is about ready to line up for his extra point. So it was unbelievable. But to not even understand, it seemed like they didn't really recognize the rule. The commentators were saying they practiced that all week or during the week, and it was the same way where it was clearly not legal because of the way Goff sets up initially. Do you think that has an effect? Like that goes back to the new offensive coordinator type situation?
I just think that's a weird rule that, I mean, people you wouldn't really think of because, I mean, I guess if you take a step back and then go in motion, then it counts. I mean, it just seems like one of those things that was overlooked by the Lions. It shouldn't happen, but also, I mean, that is a little fishy waiting around for 5 minutes for the league to call, be like, guys, we can't let the Chiefs be going 2-4 here. Let's make this a field goal and see if the Chiefs can go and score. I mean, come on. But I mean, it is what it is. We'll be able to move on from that. You should just give it to David Montgomery. He's going to get the yard, but we did something fancy and it didn't work.
Well, Luke, it was a very fun game Sunday night. And then Monday night, we had another pretty exciting game. The Bears and the Commanders, one of two Monday night games that I think we'll be talking about both. But let's start there. In the rain in Washington, it looks like the Commanders are about to get a win late. Jaden Daniels makes a second costly mistake of the game, fumbles the ball. Caleb takes the team down the field, mostly with the run game, but gets in a position for the game winning field goal. And the Bears get the win and revenge from that Hail Mary game last year. Now, the question is Caleb and Jaden, their careers always going to be tied together. Where do you see both of these guys moving going forward?
I think that personally, Jaden Daniels is going to have a little bit better of a career. I think that over the course of what he's going to be able to do, if he can continue to use his legs and his vision right now is just on another level. I mean, he made some guys out there look good last night. The Lane dude had that sick double move, hit him in stride on that one, and he's making players where Caleb Williams, I think, has the better weapons, especially right now with McLaurin out. And Williams was doing pretty solid, but you can see he's just not exactly in rhythm right now. I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be one of the top guys in the league where I could see Jaden being able to be that guy.
I think that through so far this year, I've seen the potential that Caleb could still get there. It might take a little bit longer than we all anticipated, but I see the growth. Even last night, he had that touchdown, should have been to Rome Odunze, gets taken off the board. A great throw there. He made the steady plays. Now, Jaden, yes, I think for the most of the game, Jaden was playing better, but we've seen Caleb make those costly mistakes. And last night it was Jaden, the interception in the red zone and the big turnover. So, of course, yeah, I think Jaden still has the more likely chance to be that star guy, but I think now I'm starting to see a possibility that it could be Caleb, or it obviously could be both of them because I think Jaden has proved he's talented, but that's a real mistake there, not being able to close out a win like that at home against a team you could be in a playoff race against down the road.
Exactly. It seems so fluky, just like the time these two met up last year. And these, like you said, these two guys are going to have their careers correlated against each other, compared against each other for their entire careers, being going 1 and 2 in that draft. So it was interesting to see it come down to another fluky quarterback fumbles the ball because the ball's wet. So the team that should have won that one, Commanders, all they have to do is basically hand it off, they win, and it turns completely on its head,
It's
just
kind of
like it did
karma,
last
right?
year.
They've each gotten a game stolen away from the other.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Well, Luke, let's talk about some other week 6 reactions. For me, we're starting right on that other Monday night game. And rise up, Atlanta. What a victory against Josh Allen and the Bills. And now all of a sudden, Luke, I think that not only the Bills, they saw their chances of the 1 seed slip away, they might be in trouble to hold on to that division because the Patriots look sharp. The Patriots have already beaten the Bills in Buffalo, and the Patriots can win the NFC East or the AFC East.
Yeah, no, they absolutely can. I mean, Buffalo did not look that good. It looked like Josh Allen was completely out of sorts. He missed that one play where he did the flip on, I think it
Yeah,
was fourth down.
yeah.
And all he had to do was flip his hips and fire it in there. It was a very simple throw, and he tried to do something a little too extra. Now, I don't think he's going to continue doing stuff like that. That looked like year one, year two, Josh Allen, something we haven't seen in a while. So I think he's going to be able to fix that type of stuff, but you can tell he's just a little bit off right now. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that none of his receivers have really stepped up at all. Keon Coleman looked like he might be that guy. Shakir, he's more of just like a gadget player. And it worked decently for him last year, but I think they need someone to step up.
Now, Shakir has been good, but outside of him, nobody else. And obviously, they missed Kincaid last night. And the defense is just major concerns. I mean, Atlanta should have had 28 points, and they had 350 yards in the first half, really. And the Patriots' schedule, you look at who they've got coming up: the Titans, Browns, home against the Falcons, and they've got a tough one against the Bucks. But then Jets, Bengals, Giants. They've got a lot of winnable games in a row. Obviously, both teams kind of have weak schedules because they play a lot of the same teams. But now the Patriots have that inside track and their schedule is pretty favorable. I think that there's a good chance that the Bills could be scrambling for the division.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that. I still think the Bills will be able to get it done. I think we talked about this last week too, after the Patriots beat them. I think the Bills will be able to figure it out. And the Patriots are still a young team with that head coach, still trying to set the culture. And Drake May is going to have a couple dud games against those teams that I think is going to make them fall off the pace just a little bit from Buffalo. So it is definitely a possibility, but I'm not going to go as far as to say they're going to be able to take it down this year.
Give me a week 6 reaction.
Well, Brent, everyone hated on me for saying the Panthers are a team that some people need to worry about. Well, guess what? They just won again against the Cowboys. That's three in a row, or I guess not three in a row, three out of the last four for the Panthers. And I love to see it. I mean, I think Bryce Young played really well in that game. Tetairoa McMillan gets 2 touchdowns, and Rico Dowdle has really stepped up as a really good running back. It wasn't against the best teams, but with Chuba Hubbard coming back, I'm telling you, this offense is dangerous. Keep sleeping on
I can't get by it, Luke. Rico wrecked the Cowboys, that is for sure. But yeah, the wins just don't impress me. You beat the Dolphins. You beat I mean, the Falcons is just a good win, but it was just an odd game and how it happened. And then the Cowboys losing a game to the Cardinals. Now they win that one, then we're maybe talking about something. I just look around at the NFC and the landscape. There's not that many other teams out there that I think they're better than them. Even at 3-3, it's nice. It means they probably won't finish last in the division. It means they might still be a couple games outside the wild card hunt for a long time if that's what you're into. But I just don't see them actually being able to get there because I don't think that they're good enough right now. Bryce Young is still wildly inconsistent. Yeah, the Cowboys make everybody look way better than they are. I mean, even the Dolphins defense is horrible, and even against them, he only looked good for a little bit. So it's a great record, 3-3. It's a nice spot to be in for the Panthers, and I'll give you credit, Luke. You know, maybe you need to just keep talking up the Jets, and the Panthers will do something while you're over there on the Jets side because that one is
them.
not good. But I'm not buying that the Panthers are going to be back in it. They had some good wins against some really suspect teams.
Fair enough, Brent. What else you got from week 6?
Well, this is a team that I do think can get back in it. and they're not 3-3. They're 1-5. But the Ravens just need Lamar back. The defense actually looked halfway good against the Rams team that has an explosive offense. Matt Stafford didn't ever seem comfortable. He seemed like he was always off his spot, missing passes to Puka and to Adams' family through much of that game. Now the Ravens offense, abysmal. Don't get me wrong. They Henry can't do anything with them stacking the box, and Cooper Rush is done. So it's all predicated on having Lamar come back healthy after the bye. But if they do, I see plenty enough weaknesses in the AFC where the Ravens can get rolling and be a threat to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Lamar is such a great player, and like you said, there's not a whole lot of other competition in the AFC. I mean, there's some good teams at the top, but then the middle and the bottom are just teams you can beat up on. If once Lamar's back, I have full confidence that he'll be able to beat those teams, and that could be enough for him to get back into that wild card hunt. I still think the Steelers got a lock on that division, though.
Yeah, they're going to need to have that defense play as good as they did against the Rams or even better. And obviously, they'll have to sweep the Steelers if they want to get the division. But I think that they're right back in. I'm glad you agree with me on that reaction. What about your last one?
Well, going all the way back to Thursday night, it was so great to see the Eagles go down again to the New York Football Giants. That was so awesome. And I just love watching Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby play football. And that defensive line is another monster too. It's just crazy how much changes when you go from Russell Wilson to Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby. The vibes are completely different on this team, and it is must see TV every single week. I don't think the Giants are going to be able to necessarily make a push for the playoffs this year, but I want to see everything they're doing this year because I think they might have something special for the future here.
I absolutely agree in that it's must-see TV. And I also absolutely agree that I don't think that they're going to be able to continue that. That was just remarkable. I mean, both of those guys just do not give a bleep about anything. They will just slam themselves into defenders, into each other. They do not care. But it's fun to watch, and it leads to losing to the Saints one week and turning the ball over 5 times to beating the defending Super Bowl champions. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be inconsistent. They're both rookies, but when it comes together, it's a thing of beauty, and it was fun to watch. So, yeah, just imagine if they also had Malik Neighbors, one of the best young receivers, with Dart to give him some downfield passing and that young defensive line. They're fun to watch for sure. Now, it's going to be a mixed bag in terms of results, though, the rest of the way, I think.
Yeah, definitely will be. I mean, we saw them have 5 turnovers in a row just last week against the Saints in 5 straight possessions. So who knows what you're going to get out of it, but it's going to be exciting.
Dude, it's gotta be. Ah!
What
Well,
was
Luke,
most surprising to you from last week, Brent?
dude, I would tell you, we're 6 weeks in, so it's kind of this spot in the season now. It's a third of the weeks of the regular season, right? 18 weeks of the regular season. We're 6 weeks in. It's a good kind of, okay, you can start to get your bearings on where every team is. And the Bucks and Baker, they're out in front in terms of both the MVP race and in terms of the 1 seed in the NFC. 5-1, Baker is right now, he would be the MVP. Now, of course, he's not the favorite in Vegas because it's like, can he really sustain that, especially with the injuries coming up? And there's players right behind him that have shown they've done it over the course of a full season multiple times. But I would not have suspected that the Bucks would be this good to start the season, especially with all the close wins that they've had. And in this one, another game where Baker just makes 2 miraculous plays, escaping the pocket on a 3rd and long and somehow juking guys out, running through them. And then the deep throw to Tez Johnson, who I didn't even know who he was until he caught the ball. So the fact that the Bucks and Baker are doing this, and I know the 49ers were banged up, but it's not just so surprising that they won this game because I thought they would, but just what they've done as a whole over the last 6 weeks.
Absolutely. It was surprising. I mean, Baker, he really is something too. He's on that list too, just like I said about the Giants, where you just want to see what he's doing at all times. And you just love to see it in the NFL. He's just great for it all, great for the league. And we're gonna be getting into a big matchup with who Baker's going up against this week later on. And my biggest surprise was going back to that game we had already talked about, the Falcons absolutely dominating. Let's talk about the Falcons for a second. On both sides of the ball, the pressure that they're able to get right now is something that we haven't seen from a Falcons team in a long time, at least from what I remember. And Michael Penix is starting to show up. He's really starting to silence all those guys that said maybe put in Kirk Cousins for a few games. But no,
Yeah, who said that?
I don't know. Some probably knows what they're talking about a little bit. But no, Drake London and Bijan Robinson, those are two great weapons for that guy, for that young gunslinger down there. And I love to see what the Falcons are doing too. I think that they're another team that's young on the come up and just give the ball to Bijan. The way that they run the pistol formation is really cool to see too, because you don't see that a lot. And it was really showcased on Monday Night Football there. And Bijan makes it work wonders, making people miss, running over guys, and even taking an 81 yarder to the house. That got me fired up.
Yeah, the Falcons are awfully impressive. I think that there's major limitations on Penix. He is a first read quarterback, and it's not there. He makes mistakes. They almost threw a costly pick six at the end of the game, and sometimes you wonder what he's doing, but other times he fits the ball in a tight window, and when he does, it's very, very fun. Drake London is a star. Bijan is a superstar. Bijan is an MVP and an offensive, player of the year candidate, and well deserved, and arguably the best running back in the NFL right now. He's a stud. London's a stud. They don't have anybody else outside of those
Yeah.
two offensively to get the ball to, so it makes it complicated because you kind of have an idea of where Penix is going to go with the football, and he couldn't get himself in trouble. That's why his highs are high. He has some big games, and then he has some real stinkers as well mixed in. But on the other side of the ball, absolutely. They drafted those two rookie pass rushers. People thought maybe that was not the right move. Right, so far it's working out. They've gotten to Josh Allen. They blitzed the hell out of him, and it worked out. Allen was not comfortable at all throughout the game, and holding that Bills team to that 14 points is very impressive. So yeah, I like the Falcons a lot. I think that they definitely have a chance to be a playoff team in the NFC, but it's not going to be easy because there's a lot of teams right in that same tier in the NFC that you can't really shake out just yet.
Yeah. And I did have the Falcons to win that game against the Bills on Monday night, but it was just surprising how much they dominated. I mean, they should have won. They already won comfortably, and they should have had another touchdown right there before half. Drake London, you saw that stepped out of bounds right at the 1 yard line
Yeah.
when he almost took a slant to the house with like 5 seconds left. That was pretty awesome. But yeah, it could have even been more. I mean, they were just completely dominant.
Oh yeah, Underdog Better was fired up for that one too. He was on Falcons. So don't you worry about that. We were hyped up waving this rise up over here. As we
Uh,
move on to week 7, Luke, and we will start off with the London game Sunday morning. We hope it's a little bit more exciting than this week's London game, the snooze fest between the Broncos and Jets, but we got Rams Jags. Jags are 3.5 point dogs, even though there'll probably be a large contingent of Jags fans at this game. But which team needs this win more, Luke, as we hit close to this middle portion of the season?
I think the Rams need this one more. Their division is a lot more competitive. You got the Seahawks and the 49ers right there vying for it. And the Jags, while they do have to worry about the Colts, they can still get into the wild card and be able to make noise there. The Rams, I feel like, need this. Dropping to 4-3 will put them well behind and still not knowing where Puka's at. I mean, if they can get this win with Puka being out, that would be huge for them. So I think Rams would love to get this one done, and I think they need it. Because if they lose this one, who knows when Puka will come back and they could be on a little slide here.
Yeah, both teams 4-2, and both teams with different question marks with that receiving group. Of course, with Puka, it's the injury. Now it's all Devontae Adams. And with the Jaguars, they've still yet to really get Brian Thomas cooking. He had a better game last week and had a big touchdown wiped off the board. But Travis Hunter, he didn't step forward like we anticipated as well. I agree. I think it's the Rams, though, because of that division. The Seahawks do look for real after their win on the road against Jacksonville. And the 49ers somehow, with all the injuries, keep at least playing good football. And the 49ers already have head-to-head wins over both the Rams actually all three of the teams in the division, Rams, Cardinals, and the Seahawks. So the Rams, I think, need this one more, and I think that they will get it. Although I was confident picking against the Jags last week against the Seahawks at home. Now in London, for some reason, it seems like that's even more of their home field. I'm less confident this week than I am taking against the Jags.
Yeah, and the Rams have also had kicker issues, which could definitely play a factor. I think my favorite bet for this game is actually taking the under 44 and a half. Like you said, the Jaguars offense hasn't been doing great, and their defense has stepped up. Same with the Rams, with having Puka out. And those London games have all been pretty low scoring, going across the pond. It's easier to play defense, I feel like, in that scenario. And plus, the Rams kicker is terrible. So you got to factor that in. So give me the Jags plus 3.5 in that under.
All right, I like that one, Luke. Let's talk about the main slate Sunday.
All righty, Brent. So we're going back to Arrowhead, the Raiders versus the Chiefs, division rivals, and this is Rice's return game. How big of an impact do you think he can have right away?
A big one. I think he's immediately going to be Mahomes' favorite target. I think he's going to step into that role that Juju Smith-Schuster's kind of been doing, the slot, the underneath, the intermediate stuff, the crossers across the field, where you need a big physical receiver that can get open with hand fighting, under contact, and he's going to be able to do it right away. Rashee Rice, if you look at the start of his season last year before he got hurt, or you go back to the end of his rookie season, he is on pace to be a top 10 receiver in the NFL. That's how much Mahomes wants to get him the ball. That's how important he is to this offense. I think it can't be understated that Rashee Rice is going to be the best player. He's the best skill position player that the Chiefs have. He will be the best player on the field outside of Mahomes when the Raiders take the field, besides Max Crosby. Here's how it'll go when there's 22 people on the field and the Chiefs have the ball: Mahomes, Crosby, Rashee Rice. It's that simple. And he is going to be a big part of it. I'm kind of shocked the Chiefs are this big of favorites, but Vegas is back to all the way believing in Kansas City. They're back to the best Super Bowl odds, and they're the biggest favorites this week at home against the divisional game. They just got to take care of business. Kansas City has not been had a winning record all season. They've had a losing record of 500 all year, and now here's their chance to get over the hump, kind of get to a winning record, start trying to reel off victories and rope in those leaders in the AFC. So yes, Rice is going to make a big impact. The Chiefs don't have to cover the spread, but it would be nice if they win by at least 2 scores, again, a 10-point win, because right now the Chiefs are 0-3 in one-score games. So I'm fine keeping it that way this week and beating the Raiders by double digits.
Yeah, I don't think the Chiefs should have too much of a problem with here, and they're going to be trying to get Rashid. He loves those underneath passes, those manufactured receptions, and I feel like they're just going to try to get to him, get him acclimated in the offense. This is a good time to do it against the Raiders team that y'all should be able to take care of. And I really hope he does well for my fantasy team.
Yes, me too.
We
All right,
need it.
on to this game, which is a really interesting matchup because of two reasons, Luke. It's Eagles at the Vikings. Eagles are on the road, 1.5-point dogs now. They're coming off back-to-back losses. What is going on with the Eagles? Is the sky falling in Philadelphia? Meanwhile, who do they go to visit? Potentially, but not even for sure yet, Carson Wentz and the scorned lover who almost led the Eagles to a Super Bowl win. He was the starting quarterback at the time. Obviously, Nick Foles comes in after he gets injured, and Wentz's career goes down the drain basically from there. Can Wentz get a little bit of revenge on his old team and keep the Eagles slide going?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great game. I love to see this one because both these teams need this win, and the Eagles are coming off of a 10-day break, and the Vikings had their bye last week, so they've both been preparing for this game for a while, and I think the Vikings are going to be able to get it done. That defense is really solid, so I don't see how the Eagles are going to be able to put up a lot of points. I think this is going to be a low scoring one, but the Vikings also, I think if Carson Wentz can just get the ball to his weapons, they can be just as potent as those Eagles weapons on the other side. And I think that they're going to be able to do that. I think the Vikings defense is just a little bit better than the Eagles defense to where they'll be able to get the win. in a low scoring battle.
Yeah, the Eagles have just run kind of a gauntlet of tough defensive fronts. We talked about it when the Buccaneers or at the Broncos game. Is this going to be the week they kind of get the offense going? They did for a half, then they stalled out and they ended up losing the game. Then against the Giants, same thing. They couldn't do it in the second half after it was back and forth in the first half. So it leads me to believe that they won't be able to do it against another really good defense. Brian Flores is going to want to put pressure on Hurts. He's good at stopping the run. I think the Eagles are going to struggle, and I like the Vikings in this one too, whether it's Wentz or McCarthy. I want to see JJ McCarthy get back out there, but Wentz at this point probably gives them just as good a chance, if not better, to win the game. It's going to be about not making mistakes and having the Eagles beat themselves. I like the Vikings in this one as well until the Eagles prove otherwise. They are on the no touchy list.
I like it, Brent. We're in lockstep here, and let's see what we got for this next game. The Colts are going back to LA where they just lost a couple weeks ago for their only loss. Right now, the Colts are the top of the AFC, and they're going up against the Los Angeles Chargers this time. Colts are 1.5 point underdogs, and we know what's going to happen in this one. The Colts just gave up a lot of yards and made Jacoby Brissett look like he's something special, way better than a backup. And so the Chargers are going to be firing. Do you think the Colts can hold up against this pass heavy attack for the Chargers?
Probably not, but I think they might still be able to do it. This is a very tough game because the Chargers have not looked good recently. Since they've gotten that extra tackle injury to Joe Alt and Slater's already out, they have been struggling where Herbert will go for long stretches of games and not play well. Then he comes back, saved him at the end of that Dolphins game. But after all the turnovers that the Dolphins had committed, they had no business even letting the Dolphins hang around in that one, much less take the lead inside the final minute. So I think Herbert will have his moments, but he hasn't been consistent without those weapons. Obviously, Quentin Johnston was out too, Amarion Hampton in the backfield. And meanwhile, for the Colts, what's their best win so far this season? They beat the Broncos at home on a leverage call. That's obviously a good win because the Broncos would be right up there at the top of the AFC without it. But, I want to see them win a game like a little bit more resoundingly than getting an extra crack at a game-winning field goal. And I think this is an opportunity. It's in LA, but the Chargers fans, we know they don't give them much of a home field advantage. I want to see Indiana Jones go on the road into the Lost Ark and get a win. I think he can do it.
I know you want to see it, Brent, but I don't think it's going to happen. Give me the Chargers in this one. I think this is a test where the Colts aren't going to be able to hold up. I mean, Justin Herbert has been able to figure out this passing offense towards the later end of that Dolphins game. I think that was a good game to kind of get him going a little bit. And especially with Lad McConkey finally stepping up. He had a great game on Sunday. With him, Keenan Allen ready to go, and I think Quentin Johnson is going to come back. The Colts secondary is depleted right now, and Herbert's going to be able to throw it all over them. One of those three guys is going to be open on almost every play. It's going to be a streaky game. I think that the Colts can bring it back a little bit, but I think the Chargers will be able to get that offense going to a level the Colts can't keep up with.
Well, look, I figured we wouldn't have the exact same picks on all the key marquee matchups going into the big one Monday night. So you can take the Chargers, I'll take the Colts. And now comes the Monday night, Luke, and the Lions. They're coming off a tough Sunday night football loss to the Chiefs. And then at the very end of that game, of course, Brian Branch swings on Juju. He was being bullied during the game. I get that. It's tough out there in Arrowhead. But now the Lions and their secondary gets even more depleted. That's their weakest spot in terms of personnel right now. And the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield have been slinging the ball. It doesn't matter who they've got lining up at receiver. Lions 5.5 point favorites at home, but will the Branch punch prove costly for Detroit?
Well, it might cost us maybe a couple points, maybe. I mean, Branch is a good player, but at the end of the day, I think the Lions will be just fine in this one. Baker can't do it all, and we're going to be able to, well, at least I hope not, or else we could be in for some trouble. But we're going to find ways to be able to get to him. It should be somewhat of a similar game to the Chiefs game, except for We just have to convert whenever we have those opportunities. I think the Bucks defense is a little bit worse than the Chiefs, so we'll have some extra leeway there. Both are good teams, but I think that the lack of weapons that Baker Mayfield has right now, we'll be able to get to the quarterback. I think their offensive line is a little bit worse than the Chiefs as well. So everywhere is just a little bit of a downgrade for me, and that's why the Lions are -5.5 right now. And I think we'll be able to get it done pretty handily in this one. The Lions have not lost back-to-back games in over 2 years, and I don't see why we would stop now. Brent's punching that guy might have just gotten everyone fired up to have an even better game on Monday.
I don't know about that, but I do think that I liked how Campbell reacted to it. He shows what a great leader he is as a coach, making sure that it's aware what Branch did. Not acceptable for the Lions, and getting beat, not acceptable for the Lions. So I do get that point. And for Detroit, yikes, though. Got to go up against the two MVP favorites back-to-back weeks. You already got burnt by Mahomes, and now Baker wants the ball on your head top two. I am a little nervous if I'm Detroit. I think it could be a shootout, but yeah, Baker just doesn't even have the weapons either. Like Buka got hurt, Evans, Godwin, they're probably both going to miss as well. Bucky Irving. So while the Lions are pretty weak in the secondary, the Buccaneers are banged up everywhere, and it's in Detroit. So I think the Lions do win this game, but it's a very, very interesting game. And I was saying this after the Chiefs game. I still think that there's a very good chance Chiefs and Lions could see each other in February. I think they're two of the best teams in the NFL. The Lions losing at Arrowhead doesn't make that not true because, most teams are going to do that, lose in Arrowhead. I'll take the Lions in this one, but Branch is definitely putting his team at a major disadvantage.
Yeah. And our secondary is really banged up right now. So we're going to need people to step up. But our linebacking core is really solid. And we got Ali McNeil coming back on Monday night. I can't wait for that. One of the best interior rushers in the league. So we can get someone opposite Hutch and also a great run stopper. I can't wait to see him play again. Hopefully, he'll be able to get in there for a good amount of snaps coming off that ACL tear last year. Gonna love to see what he can do out there on Monday. So
Yeah,
we're
he's a
we're
fun
losing a good player, but we're getting probably an even better player as well.
he is a fun player. I'm excited to have McNeil back in for the Lions up front. Now, Luke, let's get to our top picks of the week. And we were popping again last week. Both hit our upset picks outright. Both of our locks easily won. And it was a good week overall, Luke. So, who's your upset this week?
This week, I'm going with the later game on Monday night. Houston Texans are going to Seattle. I think this is one of those games where Seattle is riding high, right? I think it's time to sell high on them, really. The Texans have been playing really well. They've been ramping up from the slow start they had. Stroud's been playing better. Christian Kirk added to the offense helped a lot. And Nico Collins playing well. I think that their offense is going to be able to do just enough. And Seattle's offense has not seen a defense like the Texans are about to throw at them here in this one. Give me the Texans with 3 points. I mean, I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful because I think that they're going to be able to take this one out outright for sure.
It is getting closer to Halloween. That means Darnold could always go pumpkin mode. Yeah, I don't hate that one, Luke. I hadn't really considered it as in like one of my favorite upset picks of the week, but you make some good points on Houston. Not as good though as this upset pick. Why not? They just dominated the Bills. They look good. We just talked about their pass rush, and we've talked about San Fran being banged up. Give me the Sunday night game, Atlanta on the road at San Francisco, and Penix to do it to those boys, whether it's Mac Jones or Purdy. We know it's not going to be Bosa. We know it's not going to be Fred Warner. These guys are just losing everybody left and right. I'll take the Atlanta Falcons as my upset pick. And why not wave it one more time?
There you go. I like that one too. That one surprises me as well. I feel like this would probably be a pick 'em, but I guess maybe the 49ers will be able to get some players back in that one. What's your lock, Brent?
My lock, we're going to Chicago. The Bears, they're off in a short week. This is when you really can tell how big coaching is because you've got a new staff in there. They're not going to let the team get all hyped up. Oh, we won a big Monday night game on the road and drop one. A good coaching staff takes care of the wins that they need to have, and that is what this is this week. They're hosting the Saints, who have played better than probably a lot of people thought, even though they still lost pretty much every game. But another one-score game they were in this week. But the Bears back at home, this is where they show that maturity and that they have the right guys at quarterback and at head coach, and they take care of business against an inferior team at home. Give me Chicago, only -4.5.
I like the Saints in that one. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a field goal game. Saints defense has proved to be pretty solid and gave the Patriots a little bit of fits last week. But then again, I'm not really much of a Bears believer, so that makes a little bit of sense. Going over to my lock of the week, I'm going with Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night at Cincinnati. This is the old man bowl. We got Aaron Rodgers 41, Joe Flacco 40, and it'll definitely be an interesting watch. But I think the superior quarterback is really going to dominate this one. Cincinnati's defense is still not very good. And I think that Aaron Rodgers, the way that he's been playing, his timing throws are on another level right now. Him and DK just continue to get better and better each week, and they're proving to be one of the best quarterback and wide receiver duos in the league. Pair that up with the way Jalen Warren's running the ball right now, and I feel like the Steelers are going to be able to put up a whole lot of points on these Bengals. They will not be able to keep up. Joe Flacco still only been with the team about 10 days.
Yeah, until proven otherwise, just fade Cincinnati. They do very little right. I think Flacco definitely gives them a chance, more so than Browning did. Flacco has a great track record against Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, but yeah, I'll take Pittsburgh in that one, Luke. And that brings me to my top prop of the week. And we've already talked about it. It's Rashee Rice. Get in the end zone, Rashi.
Yep, I like it. Why not? And for my prop, I'm going with Jackson Dart's under in rushing 43 and a half against Denver. Denver's defensive line has just gotten better and better each week as well. Nick Bonito's looking like he might be up there with Aiden Hutchinson for Defensive Player of the Year. And Justin Fields, a very prominent rushing quarterback, is having complete fits back there. I don't see Dart being able to get to 43 and a half over that in rushing yards. Seems like way too high of a line to me. So I'm going to take the under on that.
Yeah, it is a very high line, and it's just because he's done it every game so far, but it's a small sample size. You don't think that he's ever going to be able to keep averaging, 55 yards a game. That's really not sustainable. So it makes sense. Take advantage of that small sample size. I like it, Luke.
There
Well,
you go.
you know what time it is now. Time to take a big swig and throw back a 12 pack, Luke. It's your week to power rank the 12 best current teams in the NFL.
I hope y'all are ready for this. It's going to be a tasty one. It's tough because there's a lot of teams I feel like are on a very similar level right now. But here we go straight into it. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at number 12, barely staying on the 12 pack. I had to leave them on there. I feel like they're still a team that's solid enough to where they deserve a spot. If they lose again this week, though, like I predicted, definitely way off. Next up is the Patriots at number 11. Still a riser in the AFC, and they can definitely do some damage in there. Number 10, breaking the top 10, the Atlanta Falcons. I said they can't be in my 12 pack after the Panthers blow them out. But when you blow out the Bills, you can get your spot right back on. That's long distant memory at this point, and the Falcons are playing really well. Number 9, I'm going with Los Angeles Rams. They're still a solid team, but it seems like they might be a little Puka dependent. Their offense wasn't great after he went down. I'm excited to see what they can do without having him and if Devontae Adams can step up. Number 8, I'm going with the team I talked about just now, my lock of the week, Pittsburgh Steelers. I think their defense is starting to step up a good amount. And like I said, Aaron Rodgers, don't sleep on him now just because he's an old man. Doesn't mean he can't still tear up defenses. Number 7, I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. They've been proven time and time again that they can win these games, and they just have overall consistency week to week that you love to see, and that'll get a team right now with the current landscape of the league into the top 7 there. What do you think about that so far, Brent?
Wow, Luke. Wherever you got this, give me more of it because I like what you're doing so far. Now, I've got a team I'm worried about that you're still going to have a little too high up, but when you talk about the Falcons getting in, I love it. The Eagles, I think they're right on the fringe. I think that's a great spot for them, just outside the top 10. And yeah, I've been kind of hesitant to move up the Steelers and the Seahawks, but I think those are good spots for them at this point. They're still not as good as their records might show, but they are both teams that have earned spots in the top 10. And Seahawks did dominate the Steelers head to head. So I need to see if I'm trying to figure out what teams you have left. And like you said, it's such a cluster that there could be a team you have at 4, or it could be a team you have left off completely. I need to see how it finishes, but right now I'm ready to throw back another one.
Oh, well, Brent, I got a good feeling you're going to think this last part's really tasty coming up. But first off, we got the Colts at number 6. Can't break into the top 5 yet. Like you said, just don't have that really quality win. But I'd love to see them be able to get it. That'd be an interesting one. See where they'd end up on your 12 pack if they can get it done this weekend in Los Angeles. The Broncos are coming in at number 5. Their offense didn't show a whole lot against the Jets there, but London game a little fluky. They've still done a lot of impressive things this year. They can get that offense consistent. They're going to be a team to look out for come the end of the year. At number 4 is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're a really good team, but still a little banged up right now. And it doesn't seem like they've quite, made the jump to where my top 3 teams are at right now. I mean, the Lions and the Chiefs have been the top teams the past 2 years, or the past year, and it seems like they're still around that same mark. It doesn't look like either of those teams have fallen off, and the Bucks haven't quite made the jump up to that level. That's why I'm going with the Chiefs at number 3, though. Chiefs got coming in at number 3, 3-3 team. You got to get above 500 to be in the top 2, and then number 2, I'm going with the Packers. Packers are a good team, and they took care of business against the Bengals. They're still working on their pass rush and all that with Micah Parsons. So we'll see how they can finish it off the rest of the year. But they are definitely a team to worry about. And number 1 is still the Detroit Lions. We might have lost to both the Packers and Chiefs, but hey, give me those teams again next week, and I guarantee you the Lions will be able to get the W. I'm not worried about it one bit. This team is built on grit, and they got what it takes. They got all the players in the spots they need. We're going to get those boys back in the secondary and take them all the way to the Super Bowl. Let's go.
Well, Luke, I knew it was too good to be true for you to have it all figured out because, I mean, you're even digging yourself your own hole. You even said it. The Lions you got at 1, and their losses are against teams number 2 and number 3. Make it make sense to me. And the Packers, even, I don't think they belong at number 2. They couldn't beat the Browns. They couldn't beat the Cowboys. There's nobody on this list in the top 5 that can say anything similar to that. I think the Packers, they have an impressive win against the Lions. Since then, they have not looked nearly as good. Kansas City and Tampa Bay belong first and second at this point, and the Lions will have a chance to beat the Bucks and get right back up there. But for now, I think you went a little wacko at the end. The Bills not being on there, I was waiting to see if the Bills would pop up. So, did you consider them for that last spot, or
I did. It was kind of interesting because my last 12 pack, I had the Eagles and Bills as the top 2 teams.
yeah,
And then after they both had just
they
horrifying
both have
defeats
been
in
0
both the
2
last
since?
2 weeks, yeah, it was between them two for that bottom spot. And I feel like the Eagles, being the Super Bowl champions, a little bit better pedigree, and the Bills defense is just not looking good at all right now. Got to give the notch to the Eagles.
If you could have just rearranged those top 6, I think 7 through 12 is pretty much perfect in order. The top 6, you just need to switch that order a little bit, and it would be the best 12 pack you've ever done. But we're still early in the season, Luke. It's just week 6. We've got plenty of time to figure out these 12 packs as the season goes along. But I'm fired up. The Chiefs get back to a winning record this week, Luke, and all is going to be right in the world. What's your final thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be a great week of football again. And let's see what the Chiefs and Lions can do. I don't see why they both can't get wins this week as pretty heavy favorites.
The Lions have a tough one Monday night. I'm fired up for some more football. Thank you for tuning in to the Hesse Bros Pod. Please like, follow, subscribe on wherever you're watching or listening from. And we'll see you next week after another great slate of NFL football.